operations on the process. On process, we can perform two types of operations. One is process creation, other one is process termination. Okay. The processes in most systems can execute concurrently, right? Many processes will be there in the system and all the processes will be executed concurrently. Okay. And they may be created and deleted dynamically. Okay. They may get created whenever they want, and it will be after completion of process, after completion of its job, it will get deleted dynamically. Okay. And these systems must provide the mechanism for the process creation and termination. That is nothing but operations on process. Okay. On process, we can perform two types of operations. One is process creation. Next is process termination. Okay. The first one is the process creation. Okay. A process may create several new processes, okay, by some system call named as create process system call. By using this create process system call, a process may create several new processes, okay, during the course of its execution. A process can create several new processes by using the system call called create process system call. Okay. And the parent process creates the child process, okay, which in turn creates other processes, forming a tree of processes. Here, the creating process is called parent process. The process which is creating a new process is called parent process. Okay. And the newly created process is called child process here. Okay. Yeah, and each of these new process may in turn create the other processes. Okay. All these newly created process can also create some other new processes. Okay. That will be like it forms a tree like structure. Okay. And generally the process identified and managed via process identifier. That's what we have discussed in the previous session. Okay. Every process will be having unique identifier called process ID. Okay. And every process is identified and managed by using a process identifier. It is also called as, and it is also referred as PID. Okay. It is typically a integer number. Okay. Whenever a process is created, immediately for that unique process ID is allotted to that newly created process. Okay. Next we'll see an example of Solaris system. Okay. Here it shows the process tree for the Solaris operating system. Okay. Solaris operating systems process tree we are seeing here in this slide. Okay. The process at the top of the tree is shed process. Okay. Shed process, and its process ID is given as process ID is equal to 0. Okay. The first process in this Solaris operating system is shed process, and its process ID is 0. Okay. Here you can see in this tree structure, every process is every process is having a different process IDs. And here in this tree structure, it is represented process name and process ID. Okay. Here we have the topmost process, which is first process here in this Solaris operating system is shed process, and its process ID is equal to 0. Okay. And this process creates several children process. Okay. It can create many child processes. Okay. The shed process creates the many child process like page out process. Okay. This is a child of this shed process. And we have another process called FS flush process. Okay. These processes are responsible for managing memory and file systems. Okay, page out process will be responsible for the managing the memory. Flush process is responsible for the managing file system. Okay, and with this we have another process which is created by the shared process is init process. Okay, which serves as a root parent process for all the user processes. Okay, init process will be served as a root process, or we can say it's a parent process for all the user processes. These are all the user processes. For all these processes, this init process will be served as a parent process. Okay, and here we have this init process created two other processes, that is inited and other one is dt login. Okay, inited and two children. It is having two children, that is inited and dt login. Okay, and these are responsible for networking services like telnet and ftp. This inited is responsible for networking services, whereas dt login is responsible for process representing a user login schemes. Okay, this is responsible for user login sessions, is responsible by dt login process. Okay, these dt login init are children of init process. Okay, when user logs in, this dt login creates a x window session. Okay, x window session will be when user logs in, this dt login process creates a X Windows session, that is called X session process will be created. Okay, and which in turn creates a standard shell process. Okay, you can see here this X session process will create the standard shell process. Okay, and below this standard shell, users command lines shell, it is also called as we can say C shell or CSH. Okay, that will be created under this standard shell. Okay, under this standard shell process creates the C shell process. Okay, and in this command line interface, the user can then invoke the various different child processes. Okay, such as like ls or cat command. Okay, if you might have used the Linux operating system and all, you might have used these commands, ls command and cat command. Ls command is to list the files. Okay, this will be invoked from this process, that is C shell process. Okay, this C shell process will create other two children, that is ls process and cat process. Okay, and here we have another CH process here, C shell process, that is with the process ID 7778. Okay, that is representing a user who has logged into the system using the telnet. Okay, this C shell process ID 7778 is represents a user who had logged in using telnet. Okay, this user has started the Netscape browser with the process ID 7785 and Emacs editor with the PID 8105. Okay, this C shell process creates another two children, that is children processes, that is Netscape process, other one is Emacs process. Okay, this is the tree for the Solaris operating system. The first in this Solaris operating system tree, the first process is which is a shared process. Okay, which is its process ID is equal to 0. Then this shared process creates other three children process, that is init process, page out process, flush process. Okay, this page out and flush process are responsible for memory management and file system management. Okay, whereas this shared process creates another process called init process. Okay, And init process again, it creates several other processes. Okay, like initd and dt login process. Okay, again, this process will invoke other processes, which creates other processes under this. This is a tree structure of processes in typical Solaris operating system. Okay, this is a Solaris operating system's process structure, process tree structure. Okay, next we'll see when a process creates a new process. Okay, we have three possibilities for resource sharing. Okay, when a process creates a new process, that means when a parent process creates a child process, we have three possibilities for the resource sharing. That is, the parent and children share all the resources. Okay, whatever the resources the parent is having, the parent shared all the resources with its children. Okay, and another possibility is a children share subset of parents' resources. That means the parent is putting some restrictions for the resources, and parent is sharing only few resources with the children. Okay, children share subset of parents' resources. Okay, next, another possibility here is a parent and children share no resources. Okay, here the parent is not sharing any of its resources to the child. Okay, parent created a child, but the parent is not sharing any of its resources. Okay, parent is letting the child to execute the task on its own. Okay, the parent is not sharing any resources here. Okay, here a process needs some certain resources to accomplish a task, to execute. What is process? Process is nothing but a program in execution. Like to perform some task, a process needs some certain resources. Okay, along with various logical and physical resources that a process obtain when it is created. Okay, initialization data may be passed along by the parent process to its children process. Okay, along with the resources, initialization data also may be passed by the parent process to the child process. Okay, this is regarding resource sharing when the process is created. Okay, when process creates a new process, there have three possibilities for the created process. That is, parent and child share all the resources. Or like parent may keep some restriction of resource sharing for the child. Okay, and parent and child share no resources also. Okay, these are the three possibilities regarding resource sharing. Okay, next one is when process creates a new process, the time two possibilities exist in terms of execution. That is, the parent continues to execute concurrently with its children. Okay, a parent and children can execute concurrently. Okay, that is one possibility of execution when a process creates a child process. Okay, next, another possibility for the execution is parent waits until children terminates. Okay, that is nothing but here the parent creates a child process, and parent will wait until child process to complete its task. Okay, after child process complete its task, the parent process will resume with its instructions execution. Okay, here we have two possibilities for execution. That is, a parent continues to execute concurrently with its children, or a parent waits until children to terminate. Okay, parent waits until some or all the children to have terminated. Okay, until their children terminates, the parent waits without executing its instructions. Parent will be waiting until children to complete its execution. Okay, these are the two possibilities in terms of execution. Okay, There are two possibilities in terms of address space for the new process. Okay, for the address space, we have two other possibilities here. One is the child process is a duplicate of parent process. Okay, whenever the process creates a child process, okay, the child process will be a duplicate of parent process. Okay, child process and parent process will be having same procedure. Okay, that is one possibility. Another possibility is the child has a new program loaded into it. Okay, the child process has a new program loaded into it. These are the two possibilities in terms of address space. Understood, right? Here we are taking an Unix as an example, okay, to explain this address space. Okay, when fork system call is executed, it creates a new process. Okay, that means if you call the fork system call, new process is created by the parent process. Okay, that is the process which is created newly, that is called child process. Okay, here the child will be the duplicate of parent. If you call the system call fork, it creates a new process. Here the new process is duplicate of the parent. Okay. Next we have another system call exec system call. Okay. Exec system call used after fork. Okay. After creating the process, we use exec system call. Okay. This is to replace the process memory space with the new program. Okay, when we create the process by using fork system call, it creates a new process called child process, and the child process is a duplicate of parent process. It will be having same procedure what the parent is having it. Okay, next we call a exec system call. Okay, that is to replace the process memory space with the new program. Okay, that child newly created process, child process memory space will be replaced with new program. That is nothing but child has a new program loaded into it. Okay, these are the resource sharing, execution, and address space. These are the possibilities when a process creates a new process. These are things can possible. Okay, resource sharing, a parent and child can share all the resources, or a child can share only the subset of parents resources, or parent and child may not share any resources at all. Okay, that is resource sharing possibilities. Next, execution possibilities we have two. That is, parent and children execute concurrently. Parent waits until children to terminate. Okay, that is another possibility. Next, we have address space possibilities are like a child will be the duplicate of parent. Okay, that means the child will have the whatever parent is having same procedure, the child also will be having it once the child is created. Okay, next child can have new program loaded to it. Okay, these are the possibilities with respect to address space. Okay, in Unix operating system, fork is the system call which is used to create the child process, that is new process, and exec is the system call which is used to load the new program to the child process, exec system call. Okay, that is, we can say it is a execute also to run the, to accomplish the task we call the system call exec. Okay, this is the process creation process. Here you can see we have once in Unix operating system, the process will be, new process will be created by invoking the system called fork. Okay, fork is the system call which is used to create a child process, that we need to remember. Okay, Fork is the system call which is used to create a child process. Okay, fork is a system call that creates a new process. Okay, whereas in Windows operating system, we have the system call called create process. Okay, create process will be used to create a new process in Windows operating system. Whereas in Unix operating system, to create the new process, we use fork system call. Okay, and we have another system call. Once the fork is invoked, child process is created. Okay, after that, we will invoke the exec system call. Okay, exec system call is called after the fork system call. Okay, to replace the process memory space with a new program. Okay, the process memory space will be replaced with the new program. Okay, with the fork system call, if you create a child process, the child process will be having the same program as the parent is having it. Okay, if you call the exec system call, that will replaces the child process with the new program. Okay, after that, after completion of execution of the child program, it will call the exit system call. Okay, once exit system call is called, that shows that that will intimate to the parent that child has completed its task. Okay, until that time, okay, from the child has created, parent will be waiting to complete the child to complete its execution. Okay, the parent will be in this waiting state only. Once this exit system call is called, parent will resume its operation. Okay, it will until the from the child is created and child execute its child completes its execution, the parent will be in waiting state. Okay, when child process completes, the parent process resumes from call to wait. Okay, from wait system call to, it will resume to its execution of instructions. Okay, where it completes using exit system call. Okay, the child will complete its execution with exit system call. Okay, exit system call will be the last statement of the child program, we can say. Last instruction in the child process is exit system call. By invoking this exit system call, that will inform to the parent that child has completed its job. Okay, after that, the parent will resumes from the waiting state to execution of its other instructions. Understood, right? Next, you can see here, this is the program for C program for creating a process. Okay, that is nothing but forking a process. You can see here, PID is a variable of integer type. Okay, that will be used to store the process ID. Here you can see in this statement, PID equal to fork. We are calling a system call fork. Okay, fork will be used to, what is the use of fork system call? Which is used to create a process, and that process ID will be stored in the PID. Okay, here you can see here the if else statement. If PID is less than 0, if PID is equal to 0, if PID is greater than 0. If PID is less than 0, the fork is failed. That means there is some error occurred while creating a child process. Okay, PID is less than 0 means always the process ID will be equal to 0 and greater than the 0. Okay, if the process ID is less than 0 means there is some error occurred while creating the process. Okay, so that will exit from that. Okay, next we have if PID is equal to 0, that means that child process is created. Okay, here we are calling the system called exec CLP. Exec LP. Exec LP is a version of exec system call. Okay, it is a version of exec system call, exec LP. What it will do? It will replaces the process memory space with a new program, and it has three parameters. That is the path of the program and statement of the program and written type of that. Okay, it will shows the path, that is the command's path is bin/ls, and here the command which is replaced by the exec is ls command. After completion of execution of this ls command, it will return null. Okay, next we have else part. Else part, here it is nothing but when the PID is greater than 0. Okay, it is a parent process. PID is greater than 0 means parent process. Parent process wait for the child to complete. Okay, until this null is returned by the child process, the parent process will be waiting. Okay, if it null written by the parent process, child process, parent will come to know that child completed its execution, and it prints child complete and exit. Okay, this is the um, forking process. Okay, next we have the same thing using in POSIX, and the same creation in Windows 32. In Windows 32, to create the child process, we use create process system call. Okay, create process we use in Windows. In Unix operating system, we use fork system call to create the process. Okay, in Java, it is given the program. Next one is process termination. Okay, it is another operation on the process is called process termination. Okay, a process terminates when it finishes its execution, okay, its last statement, and asks the operating system to delete it by using the exit system call. Okay, process terminates when it finishes its execution, its last statement, and asks the operating system to delete it by using exit system call. Okay, by using the exit system call, the child process will ask the operating system to delete it. Okay, by using the exit system call. Okay, child may return a status value to its parent via wait system call. Okay, once it finishes executing its last statement, the child process will inform to the operating system to delete it, and not only that, the child may return a status value to its parent via wait system call. Okay, that is output data from the child to parent will be with wait system call. Okay, and process resources are deallocated by the operating system. Okay, when operating system will see this exit system call, the operating system will reallocate the resources which are allocated for that child process, like a physical or virtual memory, open file, IO buffers will be reallocated. Okay, and then parent may this type of termination is called normal termination. Process can be terminated in two different ways. One is normal termination, other one is abnormal termination. Okay, once the process executes the last statement and asks the operating system to delete it, it is a normal termination. Whereas we have another type of termination is abnormal termination, where one process will terminate the another process. That is especially only the parent process is having rights to terminate the child process. Okay, a parent may terminate execution of a child process. That is called as abnormal termination, where child has, when this will happen, abnormal termination will happens for three main reasons. One is child has exceeded usage of allocated resources. Okay, child has exceeded the resources which are allocated for the child. Okay, next one is the task which is assigned to child is no longer required. Whatever task is given to executed by the child, that task is not required. So that time also child process will be terminated by the parent. Okay, one more reason is if a parent is exiting some operating system do not allow child to continue if its parent is terminated. Okay, if parents want to exit, okay, that time some operating systems will not allow child process to continue execution. Okay, that time parent will first terminate the child process and then parent will exit. Parent will terminate. Okay, that is, these are the three reasons. One process will terminate other process. That is nothing but parent process will terminate its children. Okay, only the parent process is having right to terminate its children. Other process cannot terminate another process. Only if it is a parent can terminate its child process. Okay, like if you want to terminate its child, if there are so many sub children, okay, parent, if you have process one is having process two is having a child process three is having a child process four. If process one wants to terminate itself, that time operating system is not allowing process one to exit, because its process 2, 3, 4, 5 are still completing its execution. That time, by using the cascading termination, all the children can be terminated. Okay, that is called cascading termination. Okay, if sometimes the parent process is terminated, okay, some operating systems will allow children process to execute. That time, init process will be the parent for the children whose parent is already terminated. Okay, for that time, the child process should send their status to the init process. Init process will act as a parent process for the such